Hi everyone, and welcome to today's Behavior Break, brought to you by the Arkansas Behavior Support Specialists. My name is Mary, and I am the Behavior Specialist at the Arkansas River Co-op. I'm here today to talk to you about social skills. So let's all just stop first and think about a social interaction that you have either been in or you have witnessed that just didn't go well. And if it was a situation that you were in, perhaps you left thinking, wow, that could have gone better. Or, what should I have done differently? So what we're going to talk about today is how to ensure that our students are learning appropriate social skills so that way they can interact with each other, interact with teachers, interact with parents better, and just make things smoother for them in their educational setting. So let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is just what are social skills. Social skills are any type of skill that you use when you are communicating with someone else. So this is going to be both verbal and nonverbal communication, including facial expressions, gestures, body language, anything else that you are using to perceive what the social interaction is. And social skills help us to understand and perceive how to interact with other people appropriately, how to read social situations, and then how to adjust ourselves accordingly in certain social situations. Okay, now we're going to talk about why social skills are important. Firstly, we live in a social world. Our students are constantly around other students. They are seeing them in the hallway. They are with them in the bathroom while they're washing hands on the way to the cafeteria. They are sitting at cafeteria tables with them. They are on sports teams with them. They're in the classroom with other students. So there are always social interactions happening. Additionally, our society has some just kind of unwritten social norms, and it can be really hard for students who have poor social skills to understand what these social norms are. If students want to have friendships, if they want help with conflict resolution, if they want to play sports or do drama club or be in any sort of organization, whenever they are doing group projects, whenever they're just in their regular classroom, there are always social interactions happening, and that's why it's so important to have appropriate social skills so that way students can be able to interact appropriately and they can also accomplish the things that they want to accomplish with their social interactions. Okay, so now let's talk about what do deficits in social skills look like. So if I have a student and they are just struggling socially, how am I going to know that they just maybe need some help with their social skills? Well, this is going to look different for everyone, and this is going to look especially different for our children who have disabilities. I will say that students who are on the autism spectrum specifically or have a developmental disability are kind of known for maybe struggling with some social skills just because they don't come as easily to a lot of these students. So some of the things that we are looking for when we are considering social skills, we're looking for appropriate eye contact. We are looking for conversational proximity. How close are you standing to me? Are you too far away? Are you too close to me? We're looking for topics of conversation. Are these appropriate topics? Are they topics that are both age appropriate and material appropriate? Do both parties in the conversation or all parties in the conversation want to talk about this topic? Question asking. Is the student able to ask questions appropriately? Are they waiting to ask the question? Are they just blurting it out and interrupting someone? Are they asking appropriate questions? What does the flow of conversation look like? Is it a typical flow? Is it very abrupt? Is it kind of halty? So, does it just go back and forth and feel like a natural conversation? Do students understand social language, such as jokes, sarcasm, tone, etc.? And then, do they have a lack of social niceties? So, greetings, hello, how are you? Okay, I hope you have a great day. It was good to see you, things like that. So, these are kind of all things that we should be looking for when we are considering social skills. And if you are noticing that a student or a child may be struggling with some of these, then they might need some help with their social skills. Some other things that we need to think about for our students are what might poor social skills do for them in the future. So what are these implications of poor social skills, and how is that going to translate to them as they get older? Well, it can lead to behavior problems if they are constantly struggling with social interactions and feeling like they're not being understood, or perhaps if they're not understanding other people. It can lead to a difficulty making or maintaining friendships. It's going to be hard for somebody to maintain friendships if they only talk about themselves, or if they have a very singular topic of conversation. So, being able to expound upon those things are going to help them. And then lastly, inability to function in groups of people. And if you are not able to read the room and have that social communication that's appropriate, it's going to be really hard as students get older to function in any sort of group of people. But looking at maintaining a job, being on a team, going to college, things like that might be more of a struggle for those students. So there are a lot of different focus areas for students when we are considering social skills. Firstly, there are a lot of different developmental levels that we need to consider when we're talking about social skills, because social skills that you're going to focus on with a preschool student are very different than social skills you're going to focus on with a high school student. So firstly, we just need to know what developmentally should this child be doing right now? What is expected? And then secondly, we can tailor these specific focus areas to that developmental level. So a lot of really common focus areas are sharing, listening, cooperation, following directions, personal space, manners, greetings, and taking turns, among other things. But these are kind of the building blocks that students need to have and have a great grasp on before they can then expound upon them and build their social skills to a better and bigger level. So what can we as educators do to help teach social skills? There are many, many, many things that we can be doing. Firstly, something that you're probably already doing and just haven't even thought about is modeling. So if you see an interaction between students and you see that it's not going well, you are likely to just go over to that student and maybe just give them the words to say. And so you could say to them, "Oh, it seems like you are frustrated with your friend. Are you frustrated? Okay, what you could say is," and then give them the phrase to say. So that just kind of helps provide them with the words, helps them label the emotion they're feeling, and then helps them move into that interaction and be able to communicate appropriately with their peer. Another thing that we can do to teach social skills is use visuals in the classroom. Again, as educators, there are visuals everywhere. We have posters, we have schedules, we have rules. So these are things that you most likely already have in your building, in your classroom, and you are referring to constantly. So just using those as rules and regulations and kind of modeling what types of things you want to be seeing in the classroom, that's going to help for those students who have poor social skills. Additionally, role play. So you can take the time to have students act out a certain scene or a certain situation and then talk them through. Have the entire class interact and talk about what somebody should have said or what could have gone differently. And that's going to be a really great way to help encourage students to work on their social skills. Here's an example of a role play interaction that a teacher might have with two students in a classroom. It seems as though we are having a hard time using appropriate words with each other. Ty, what are some things you could say to each other instead of move it or you're always in my way? I guess I could say, would you mind stepping to the side, please? That sounds like a really kind way to ask your classmate something. Nadia, how do you think that you could respond? I guess I would say, okay, Ty, or sure thing. I think that you both had some great answers. Can we agree to interact this way in the future? Okay, I guess I will. Then we can also look at functional play. So playing appropriately, playing with games or having activities, and then taking turns, helping students understand that they don't always get to be in charge, hearing no, accepting that they might lose or not win. Those are all things that we can teach. Additionally, there are lots of different social skills groups, social skills curriculums, workbooks, all types of things that have been created for you. I am going to kind of highlight a couple social skills curriculums and books that I know of and love, but this is by no means an all-inclusive list, and there are many, many more that people use and love. Another way of encouraging appropriate social skills and social interactions is using a technique that is just using a red card and a green card. And so the student with the green card gets to go first. They present their card. They either say a statement or they ask a question. Then the student with the red card will follow up with a statement, and then they will ask a question, and then the next student goes. And so it's just encouraging that turn taking, helping that flow of conversation, and helping increase those social skills and social awareness in the classroom. A lot of people will and or already are working on social skills by just choosing a weekly skill and then kind of designing lessons around these skills. So this happens a lot with early elementary or preschool age students, where we're focusing this week on learning, on listening friends, or this week we're going to focus on our manners and things like that. And so that is another common way that we can help teach social skills. Something else that I'm sure that you are already doing in the classroom and should continue to do is just provide that appropriate feedback. So if you see an interaction and it's going really well, oh my gosh, I love the way that you are talking to your friend. Thank you so much for asking that question. Oh, that's so great that you shared that information. What is something that you could say to your friend, and just kind of help providing that feedback so students know, okay, this is a good interaction and this is how I should continue to react to another friend. Lastly, additionally, encouraging children to notice social skills in each other. Oh, friends, did you see the way that so-and-so greeted their peer today? I love the way that you used your manners, or thank you for asking a follow-up question. Just continuing to encourage those skills that way. Another really great way that we can help teach social skills are to use something called social stories. Social stories are especially effective for children who have developmental disabilities, but they can be effective for students of any level and any ability. So social stories, basically, the gist is that you are giving them a story that is specifically about themselves, and this is going to put them in a situation that maybe they have struggled with in the past or are currently struggling with, and it's going to give them a step-by-step story of how they can work through that situation and how it is okay to, work through it and move on. So for instance, if I had a student whose name was Tariq, and he was really struggling in the classroom, and he was not wanting to pick up his toys. An appropriate social story for Tariq might be something along the lines of, Tariq loves coming to school, Tariq loves playing with his friends, Tariq really enjoys playing with toys during free play. Sometimes Tariq doesn't want to clean up his toys during free play. Every student in the classroom needs to clean up their toys because it is their responsibility. Tariq should clean up his toys just like all the other students in the classroom. It's okay if we don't want to do something sometimes, but we always need to listen to the teacher. If Tariq puts away his toys, then everybody will be happy. So just very basic, something short, and something that moves through what the situation is. Now, obviously, that specific example would be more for an elementary or early childhood age student. You can tailor it to any age, any developmental level, and you can obviously add pictures, add images, include much more loquacious vocabulary, and it can be as narrow or open as necessary. Thank you for following along and learning about social skills and how you can help your students or your child improve their social skills and their social abilities. I hope that you were able to learn one or more techniques that you can put into practice to help your student. If you have any questions or need more information, feel free to visit the Arkansas Behavior Support Specialist website, and you can find more trainings or behavior breaks there. Thanks.